Will Chris Eubank Jr. lose or will Conor Benn win? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to Me Edson. I hope you're all well. So this coming weekend, as we know, Chris Eubank Jr. facing off against Conor Benn. Who's going to win? Now, we've had all the histrionics. We've had all the build-up to this fight. We've had lots of people saying it's a 50-50 fight. Lots of other people saying, no, this is a total disaster of a fight. There's only one winner. Chris Eubank Sr. has come out the last week or so saying what a disgrace this fight is and all the negativity around this fight, even lumped on his own son. They've been estranged, of course. Conor Benn getting very excited, very passionate about this and coming in like a raging bull. We've had the promoters, giving it their all as well. So we know the build-up of this fight has been huge. And the eyes on this fight is absolutely huge. But let's just make no bones about this. Let's just cut right through to the chase. This is a nothing fight in that there's nothing on the line here. There's nothing that makes this fight as big as it is. The only thing that makes it as big as it is because of the fathers. And yes, they've been playing on that as well. But it's the name of the fathers that they're using to make this a big fight. But I'm on the side of Chris Eubank Sr. in that Chris Eubank Jr. is levels above. He's been at the highest level in terms of World Championship boxing. He's at a higher weight class, whereas Conor Benn has never fought at that level, never fought at any level in many ways, never contested any level, I should say. And he's coming up a couple of weight divisions as well. And he's also had the ban that he's had to deal with as well. Well, wasn't it a ban? He's been out of action really for a couple of years. He's had those two fights in the United States, which weren't glorious knockout fights. And then you question, has he got the power in his punches as well? They weren't great displays. And then you're asking him to come up two weight divisions to somebody who's already settled at 160 and also into 168. And who's also got power and who's also got resilience at that weight as well, to come up with all your angst, with all your animosity, with all your rage, to see if you can match Chris Eubank Jr. Now, I made a video a few months ago really talking about this fight and said, look, there's only one way that Conor Benn has got a chance or can win this fight. And he can easily win this fight in the first 3 or 4 rounds, just going in hell for leather, and just overpowers Chris Eubank Jr., who's looking the other way, who's not switched on, who doesn't really, value Conor Benn as opponent and who is complacent. That's the only way you can catch him. Now, everybody has a puncher's chance in the ring. You can hit somebody square on the chin, on the temple, on the back of the ear, whatever it is, and it can just discombobulate. There's that word again. You discombobulate somebody, and then all of a sudden they're on their arse, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So Conor Benn has that chance, and he can go in there all guns blazing. And he can get Chris Eubank Jr. He is a threat in that regard because any boxer is a threat. But when you look at this logically, when you look at this on paper, there's no way that Chris Eubank Jr. should lose this fight unless he is complacent, unless he doesn't value Conor Benn as a worthy opponent, and unless he just doesn't turn up on the night. Also, it could be that he's carrying an injury or he's ill or whatever it is, or he's weight depleted, whatever it is. So there is that could affect Chris Eubank Jr. But in terms of levels, in terms of where he's been in his career, in terms of how he would manage a fight, and I've said this Chris Eubank Jr., a few months ago, all he has to do in this fight is stand back for the first few rounds, let Conor Benn wear himself out, just stand back, pepper him with a jab, go on the back foot, move around the ring, and then in round 3, 4, 5, let's say 5th round, then just come in, start unloaded with power punches, increasing power punches, manage the fight, and then he'll get Conor Benn out of there in 5 or 6 rounds. But Conor Benn does have that chance in those early rounds. But that's all I give him. Because it's all wrong. This fight is all wrong. And it's been built up to a fight that isn't really worthy of it. Just like last week we had Ben Whittaker against Liam Cameron. It was built up into a fight that isn't actually worthy of it. Now, does that mean that we're not going to watch it? Of course it doesn't mean that. Does that mean that there isn't interest in it? Of course there is. But there's more interest in this fight because of the fathers and the name that comes down rather than the fight itself. And we know that. So boxing fans, proper boxing fans as it were, know that. You don't have to have this explained to you. But the intrigue is there to see whether somebody who hasn't shown anything, hasn't proven anything in boxing, can come up 2 weight divisions and go against somebody who's actually been at that level, at that weight division, and got some notable wins at that weight division. Granted, he's a lot older, and granted, you could say that he's never really achieved anything, and he could be on his, on his last legs in terms of fighting at a world level or at any level, really. So there is intrigue there. There is definitely intrigue there. But in terms of how much this has been built up, that's why Chris Eubank Sr. was kind of quite livid about it, because this is all about money. This is all about promoters, earning money. Conor Benn could have easily sort of turned around and said, no, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm going to fight for world titles. And then you think, well, you tip your hat to him and say, okay, look, he's going down the bona fide route. But he knows that this is the money fight. Chris Eubank Jr. knows this is the money fight, because he could have gone on to other world title fights, let's say. He could have been chasing greatness, but he hasn't. Neither of these fighters are chasing greatness. They're chasing the big fight, the big money fight. Now, you could argue it's prize fighting. That's what they should be doing. But in terms of them as boxers, that's why you can't really value what this fight is in terms of a boxing sense, because it hasn't got anything in there. Now, it attracts lots of people, it attracts lots of media attention, especially all the histrionics that's been going on. And I dare say, just like the Ben Whittaker-Liam Cameron fight after the fight, or as soon as the ref stepped in, the histrionics went on there, then you could imagine, I can imagine there's going to be a similar kind of thing here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's shenanigans going on in the crowd. I wouldn't be surprised if there's stuff going on around the ring as well. I would not be surprised. But that'll be a little bit distasteful. And you could argue that a lot of the build-up to this fight has been distasteful as well. But Chris Eubank Jr. has had this by the balls, basically. He's had them all, lapping up, lapping out of his hand or eating out of his hand or whatever the term is. He's basically just been running the show. He just has to deliver. And I believe that he's just too settled at this weight. He's way too experienced, and at least he has fought at world title level. Yes, he's got the world title in the IBO, whatever it is, but nobody really values that. But he is the one who's been at that level, whereas Conor Benn has never been at that level, and he's never been at this weight. And you've got to ask whether Conor Benn has even got the power to hurt Chris Eubank Jr. Regardless of whether they're coming in at the same weight, it's whether you're settled at that weight. And regardless of what's coming out of the Conor Benn's training camp and all their coaches, because coaches tend to do this, and people tend to big up their fighter. Of course they do. And they always come to say, oh yeah, he's been fantastic. Oh yeah, he's been brilliant. Nobody can touch him. Everybody says that. Of course they do. Fighters big up themselves all the time. Of course they do. They have to. But it doesn't mean that what you say and what actually happens in the ring is the same thing. We're going to find out on Saturday night who's going to win and who's going to lose. My gut feeling here is that the only way Conor Benn can win is if Chris Eubank Jr. loses this fight. And I hope you can understand where I'm coming from on that. Conor Benn can definitely win this fight, but it's if Chris Eubank Jr. is complacent, he doesn't turn up on the night. But if a fully fit, fully switched on Chris Eubank Jr. turns up, I can't see Conor Benn winning. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, just keep on watching the videos. And don't forget, you can go to the website, revelatoralf.com/books for all my books, sporting books, lifestyle books, occupational books, or you can go direct to Amazon.co.uk or .com or wherever you are in the world for all those books as well. Right. And with that, can't wait for the fight on Saturday. Whilst it's a nothing fight in terms of boxing sense, there's nothing on the line. And whilst I believe that both fighters should have gone in different directions, I can fully understand why this is the money fight and why they want to go for it. I just can't see Conor Benn doing it. I'm sure I'll eat my words. I'm sure I'll be eating humble pie. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Let us know what you think of what I've said. And am I right in thinking the way I'm thinking? Is there any logic in anything that I'm saying? Or do you think it's a complete load of bollocks? Let us know what you think in the comments below. I'm ready for it. Catch you again. Bye now.